Most companies today, including over 98% of Fortune 500 companies, rely on an applicant tracking system or ATS to help them hire new employees. And if you don't know what an ATS is, don't worry, you are not alone. Most job seekers aren't really aware of how ATSs work or how recruiters use them. And on top of everything, there's just a lot of varying information that's shared on this topic, but knowing the truth will help you make your job search easier and faster. So in today's video, we're going to be walking through what an ATS is, how it works, and how recruiters use them. But most importantly, we're also going to show you how to create an ATS-friendly resume to help you land more interviews. So let's get started. So in order to fully understand why it is so important to have an ATS-friendly resume, we first got to cover the basics. What an ATS is and how they actually work. So an ATS, or Applicant Tracking System, is the computer software that HR departments use to process the overwhelming amount of job applications they receive for a job opening. And even more specifically, an ATS is what stores candidate information like resumes, cover letters, and other data. An ATS also tracks the candidate application status through the hiring pipeline, and some of them even automate time-consuming tasks such as screening applicants, scheduling interviews, and even sending out notifications. But if there is one thing that you take away from this video, it's that ATSs help employers to filter resumes based on keywords, job titles, location, or whatever the recruiter wants to search for. Even if it's something super oddly specific, like 5 years of juggling experience, a recruiter can search for that. And it's not just the 98% of Fortune 500 companies that use applicant tracking systems. Companies of all shapes and all sizes in all industries use ATSs to help streamline the recruitment process. And in our most recent ATS report, where we looked at the ATS usage of Fortune 500 companies and the companies outside the 500, we found that Greenhouse was used by almost 20% of companies outside the Fortune 500, followed by Workday at 15.9% and Lever at 16.6%. And within the Fortune 500, we found that the most popular ATS was actually Workday, followed by SuccessFactors. And with the rise of affordable and scalable software solutions, even small to medium businesses are adopting ATS to improve their hiring efficiency. For example, ADP alone has over 1 million clients around the world. Some of the other popular ATSs like Lever, Workday, iCIMS, Bamboo HR, Workable, Jazz HR, and Bullhorn are used by over 130,000 companies. So diving into more specifics, let's talk about how an ATS actually works. So an ATS is used in the application process as well as the candidate evaluation process. First, it can help screen candidates during the application process by using knockout questions. So sometimes you'll see knockout questions on an application like these ones, such as, are you willing to relocate? Do you have X number of years of experience? Or what's your salary range? And generally, you can answer these questions in the style of checkboxes or short answers. And to be completely honest, if you answer these questions in a way that doesn't align with what the company is looking for, there's a really good chance your resume will be flagged, so the recruiter knows not to bother to even look at it. So not every application will have knockout questions, but it's really important to know how they work. And just because you make it past the knockout stage, that doesn't automatically mean you're going to get a call back. Whenever you submit an application by sending in your resume and a cover letter, all of that information immediately goes straight to the company's ATS. The ATS will then scan and parse your resume, and this means that it will sift through all your information and convert it into a structured format that is searchable by the system. Then, whenever a recruiter wants to find their perfect candidate, they can go into their database and search through all the applicants and their information. So it's kind of like a Google search. I know this can be hard to visualize, so let's take a look at what that looks like inside a popular ATS called Lever.
So here in Lever at the top of the screen, you'll see the search bar. This is where you can search for candidates by different filters like company, title, skills, location, and more. You can even use functions to really narrow down your search as well. It then pulls up the candidate profiles that match that criteria. Right now, there are 878 candidates that have SEO and writing skills, but let's say you want to only look at candidates in Seattle with those skills. That drops your pull down to 3 candidates. And if you want someone who has SEO and writing experience, lives in Seattle, and has 2 to 5 years of that experience, it brings you down to only 1 person that meets all the criteria.
So in our most recent survey, where we asked 380 recruiters how they filter candidates in their ATS, we found that over 76% of them filter candidates by skills, 55% filter by job title, and 51% filter by credentials. So that's why we always stress the importance of using relevant keywords from the job description on your resume and having clear ATS-friendly formatting on your resume. Because if you didn't do this, it'd be extremely hard for a recruiter to land on your resume when they're searching in their ATS. But what about AI? Are companies using AI to screen candidates? One popular ATS, iCIMS, has a feature that utilizes AI to automatically score or rank candidates based on their candidate profile. How this works is candidates are grouped into a tier with similarly scored candidates to help recruiters quickly identify those that are the best fit for the role. And rankings are determined on a per job basis according to their unique experiences and qualifications for each position. And not all ATSs have this feature, but it's definitely growing in popularity. So now that we've covered the basics on ATS, let's get into the important stuff, which is how to create an ATS-friendly resume so that it scans correctly and is searchable in a recruiter's ATS. So we're going to be using JobScan's Power Edit to create my ATS-friendly resume, and you can do this manually, but if you want to be serious about optimizing your resume, I would highly recommend using a tool. And the reason why we're using Power Edit is because one, it makes it really easy to make sure my resume has an ATS-friendly format. And two, I found a specific job description that I really want to tailor my resume to. So I'm gonna go ahead and paste that job description in right here. And first off, what we want to do is check the match rate at the top left-hand corner. And don't worry if your number is low. It doesn't mean that your resume sucks and you shouldn't apply for the job. Most resumes that haven't been optimized start in the 30 to 40% range, like mine is right now. So that's totally okay because we can make this resume so much better with Power Edit. So you want to get this match score as close to 75% as possible. We don't want to aim for 100% because over-tailoring your resume by just piling a bunch of keywords in can come across as a bit inauthentic, so we just want to avoid doing all of that. So what's really great about this tool is that sometimes I can get writer's block. So let's say I have experience doing this one thing, but I just really cannot find a way to describe it concisely to get my point across. And so all I have to do is just click on one of these keywords, and Power Edit will generate a few phrases for you. Once you have the phrases generated, you can click on the one that most aligns with the description or your experience, and then you can paste it anywhere in your resume. Or if the description that it generates isn't a close match and not exactly what your experience entails, you can then go in to edit the text once you've added it into your resume. And whenever you continue to add keywords, you'll see your match rate go up, which is exactly what we want. The next section I want you to pay attention to is the formatting section. This is where you'll find all the checks to see if your resume is ATS friendly or not. And when it comes to ATS friendly formatting, here's what you need to remember. The ATS doesn't like hard to read resumes. So that means if your resume has any crazy fonts, tables, images, headers or footers, these all have to go. So what this section does is it double checks for all the requirements for what it takes to have a resume be ATS friendly. So it makes sure you're using simple fonts that are standard size, that your resume is free of any images, tables, and that your page is set up in an ATS friendly manner with the same margin sizes all around. And we've tested many of the major ATSs out there, so we know how they read text and dates and resume sections, but we also know how they handle certain formatting features like images, tables, and columns. But if you use one of our templates here in Power Edit, you don't have to worry because all of these are verified ATS friendly resume templates. And the last thing we're going to take a look at here is the searchability section. This section is also extremely important because it shares everything you need to know about being searchable in a recruiter's ATS. So to make things more accurate, you can even input the company name and job listing URL. And if Power Edit recognizes which ATS that company uses, it can get even more granular on how to best optimize your resume. But let's take a look here and see the checks that my resume has or what's missing. So it looks like I have everything from contact information. I have a resume summary, which by the way, if you don't have one, Power Edit can generate one for you. I have the dates as well as the education match. And the only thing that is missing is a matching job title. So what Power Edit is telling me is that I should be updating my resume to match the title on the job description, which in our survey, we found that over 50% of recruiters actually filter candidates by job title. So that's really important to take note of. So I'm gonna change my job title up here to the one that's listed on the job description. And of course, Don't lie about your current job title, but if it's a case like this one where my resume says social media specialist, but they're hiring for a social media strategist with the same responsibilities, you have a little bit more flexibility there. So those are just a few sections in Power Edit. There's so much more and so many more features to play around with in this tool, but if you just pay attention to these few sections and get your score up to 75%, you'll be ready to apply for that job. So there you have it. That is everything you need to know about applicant tracking systems to make sure your job search is successful. I'll have the link to JobScan's Power Edit in the description below, where you can sign up for a free 2-week trial and get access to all premium features like Power Edit, LinkedIn optimization, and so much more. So definitely check it out if you're interested, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.